Hi all, thank you for joining us for today's webinar with Quintessentially. I'm Jake Pisecki from the Life and Wealth Network. I wanted to cover a few housekeeping items before turning it over to our co-founder, Michael Conway, to kick off our event. Thank you to those that have submitted questions with your registration. We'll be answering those throughout today's discussion. We'll also be accepting questions throughout the discussion that we will answer at the end of our briefing. The audience is muted, so in order to submit a question, please type it into the question dropdown within the GoToWebinar navigation panel, and it will be received and asked accordingly. For questions related to membership costs, we ask that you hold on those, as we will be providing contact information for a Quintessentially representative in our follow-up email containing the webinar recording. Please note that the thoughts and opinions expressed by Quintessentially in today's webinar do not necessarily reflect those of the Life and Wealth Network. Quintessentially is a privately owned company that is not affiliated with the Life and Wealth Network. The information and opinions discussed today have not been verified by us, nor do we make any representations as to their accuracy and completeness. With that being said, I turn it over to Michael Conway to kick off our event with Quintessentially. Thank you.
That's a mouthful, Jake. Thank you very much. Hey, everybody. I'm Michael Conway, and I'm the co-founder of the Life and Wealth Network and CEO of Conway Wealth Group. Thanks, everybody, for coming into our webinar today. Our network member, Quintessentially, is with us, and we're going to talk about travel during this crazy time. We're excited to have Quintessentially USA Senior Vice President Lauren Wilt with us. And Travel Senior Vice President Kelly Grumbach for a briefing to help individuals, couples, and families get back to planning and taking trips, all while traveling safely during this, again, pandemic and COVID and all the rest of it. So a couple of bullet points here of things we're going to talk about. An overview. Quintessentially is going to cover a little bit about their suite of services. Safe destinations available during COVID, precautions properties are taking, and travel safety tips, of course. I think that's a big one as we begin to open up. That's one of the main things I wanted to cover. And travel destination ideas, again, is kind of fun as we percolate the opening and want to get out there. So with that, or at the end, rather, I forgot to mention, we're going to open it up to Q&A. And Jake will do that when we're ready for it. So, Zach, I'll throw it over to you. Thanks a million.
Thanks, Mike. I'm Zach Conway, and I'm the co-founder of Life and Wealth, as well as the managing director of Conway Wealth. As many of you know, we created the Life and Wealth Network because we think families often struggle with important non-financial areas of life that not only affect long-term happiness, but actually affect long-term financial security. Today, as Mike said, we're proud to have one of our provider members with us to answer some of our most pressing questions about safe travel as we enter the spring. Quintessentially is a bespoke luxury concierge service offering day-to-day assistance for managing everything from travel to education to art to weddings to wine. Before turning it over to Lauren and Kelly, just some quick background. Lauren Wilt is Senior Vice President of Quintessentially, responsible for the management of all of the company's U.S. offices. Having joined the group in 2013, Lauren offers a unique insight into the lifestyle industry and luxury market. She has extensive knowledge of the latest lifestyle trends and today's era of connection, the rising importance of human interaction, authentic experiences, and a more emotional connection with the world and people around us. Lauren received an MBA from New York University, and she resides in Los Angeles. Kelly Grumbach has been with Quintessentially for 12 years. Kelly's desire for exploration and travel began early through her exposure to different cultures, customs, and cuisines through her friends and teachers at the United Nations International School. Her years living in Paris, where she earned her MBA, led her to pursue a career in the art of hospitality. Today, her world is deeply rooted in cultivating genuine connections with industry hotel partners and raising 2 trilingual global citizens in a multicultural home, hoping to galvanize in them the same passion for international exploration, appreciation, and celebration. Lauren and Kelly, thanks for being here, and take it away.
Thank you so much for having us, and thanks for that.
Thank you.
Back. I'm happy to kind of kick it off, give a little bit of background on Quintessentially, but then I think the real focus of this conversation will be on Kelly and her team and all of the wonderful work that we've been doing for our clients. So as Zach mentioned, Quintessentially is a global lifestyle and concierge service. We currently have offices in over 50 cities around the world, close to 1,000 employees, and working with individuals, families, and organizations to help them get the most out of life. Time is always the biggest commodity in our world, so we're helping families and individuals maximize that time, whether that is through experiences, travel. In the last year, it's been a lot of making things at home a lot more fun for people, and making things easier for them as they navigate kind of the new normal. So with that being said, happy to jump right into travel. And we have been booking travel for our clients throughout the year, and in recent months have seen a huge uptick. So happy to talk about that and how we're doing it for our clients. I think you, Kelly.
Yep.
I'll begin. Hello, to have everyone here. I get asked a lot, what are the safest destinations to travel to right now? And it's, I hesitate to use the word safe as a blanket word because honestly, travel is as safe as you are. Destinations that are safest are places like the Grand Cayman, Hong Kong, South Korea, where they require a 2 to 3 week quarantine in a hotel room alone. But, to be perfectly honest, I traveled throughout the pandemic. I traveled safely. I tested prior to, during, and after my trips. And I'm happy to say I was safe, came back safely, didn't contract anything. I traveled to places like Mexico, where COVID numbers are at some of the highest, but the measures that the hotels are taking right now are so extensive because no hotel wants to be liable for a guest who contracts COVID on their property. And places like Mexico right now, especially for me in the Northeast, it's warmth, sun, it's a lot of indoor, outdoor living. Most of the meals all the meals actually are taken outside, along the beach. They almost have created an oasis and a paradise for people who have, like me in New York, who are wearing masks all day long whenever I'm outside and whenever I'm in public spaces. So it's really nice to get away to somewhat of a normal experience. Now, the hotels, as part of their safety measures, are, you notice it the moment you arrive on property. There's hand sanitizers everywhere. There's plexiglass, oftentimes between you and the person checking you in. Housekeeping has very stringent new protocol to ensure gloves are worn and changed at different touch points throughout the room. Some hotels even have housekeeping in what look like hazmat suits, and they make sure to leave some time between when a guest checks out and when another guest checks in to ensure that the entire room or suite or villa is fully cleaned. They have different sprays and fumigation to ensure that, just antimicrobial, antibacterial, you name it. Honestly, I think that hotels and airplanes are cleaner than my own home, to be perfectly honest. I have 2 boys who are living, talking, walking germs. So I felt really safe. And, especially on the in the airports and airplanes, there aren't the long lines anymore, unless during a peak spring break or, over festive period during December holiday school break. But it's a really actually wonderful time to travel right now. And we noticed at the start of January, business has picked up so much exponentially. And I think as the vaccine is rolling out, and more people know more people who contracted the virus and have heard positive outcomes from it, and haven't experienced such negative impacts, they feel a bit more confident to know that, okay, so I can travel safely, and as long as I wear a mask and wash my hands and ensure safe distances like we do right now wherever we are here in the US, it's really no different whether you're in Mexico or whether you're in Grand Cayman. So when I returned from Mexico on my way back, I ensured that I had a private driver pick me up from the hotel to take me to the airport, a VIP expedited airport assistance, and the rest of the time when I was on property at the Waldorf Astoria Pedregal in Cabo, they took care of the rest, and it gave me my travel bug back, and it gave me more confidence to travel when I came back and I was safe.
Thank you, Kelly. That's a fantastic overview. So we have a large list of questions from some of the guests that are on the line, but also some that weren't able to join us today. So I just wanted to start with a few up front, and you touched upon it a little bit, but if you can sort of elaborate a little bit on what have you seen in terms of the way that the type of travel has shifted during the pandemic?
I would say there are more travel requests to destinations that offer that indoor-outdoor living. So during the summer months of 2020, it was a lot of Aspen and Vail, Telluride, where where clients would rent private homes or rent a home or book a home on a hotel property. And do a lot of outdoor activities with their family, with each other. So last year was very much outdoor activity focused. Places like Paws Up in Montana, these luxury glamping ranch resorts were on top of everyone's list. Right now, in the winter months, it's very much the Caribbean, warm destinations, even the Maldives. Clients obviously are traveling less to cities and more to resorts that offer that that outdoor living. So I think booking rooms has kind of diminished, but clients are they saved a lot of money not having traveled all throughout last year, so they're really splurging on suites with their private terraces, their private pools, villas with private pools, so that they don't really have to interact much with the other guests, but they have all the amenities that a hotel would offer, and they have they're at ease knowing that the hotels follow really stringent safety protocols for cleaning. And so I think we've seen a huge increase in private jets, private yachts, and private villas, particularly within hotel grounds.
Fantastic.
Kelly, I just have a follow-up, Jake. I'm curious how Quintessentially is thinking about sort of happier times ahead, and what I would think is really significant pent-up demand for people to get out of their houses, right? And I think part of the problem, and I know this is even true for the way we're thinking about it, I think we have more and more confidence in being able to do it safely. But part of the issue is that some of these destinations still have these, things you have to do, testing before, testing during, testing before you leave, the quarantine period. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt with some of these destinations. So anyway, I'm curious how you're thinking about pent-up demand. Should families still be thinking about, let's book that thing that we definitely want to do when quarantines are lifted? Let's book it now. Hope that those quarantines are lifted, because if we wait, there's a lot of people waiting on the sidelines to go do this stuff and maybe do more trips than they would have during, a typical calendar year.
That is such a great point that you raised. And you're absolutely right. The demand is, as I mentioned, starting January has increased exponentially, both for short term, as in I want to leave next week, because I've just had enough, to, well, let's start thinking ahead for summer and winter. Now you have to think about all of the travelers from last year who put their deposits down for their summer holidays, for their winter holidays, who received credits. Not a lot of them received refunds because the hotels couldn't refund all of their guests, or else they'd go out of business. So they've kept onto their deposits, and all those families and couples have and travelers have switched their dates to this year. So you've taken into consideration all of those 2020 travelers now already have their date set for 2021. We're already looking into properties that are sold out because there's just no availability. So what I say, what I've always said, pandemic or not pandemic, it's never too early to travel. Now we're here to be your expert and help you and guide you through the planning process, the best destinations to go to, why some of them may not make sense. But you can never start planning too early, especially right now, because you're right, the demand is so high. And I, throughout the pandemic, had the great opportunity to become so much closer to our competitors. I call them my colleagues now, because we've created such great friendships with one another, but other travel agency owners and managers, we've shared a lot of information with each other. And, we turned around in January, we're like, are you guys swamped? Everybody's swamped right now. And we're booking everything from the Caribbean to Tanzania, Kenya, South Africa, safaris, to gorilla trekking in Rwanda, to the Maldives and Dubai. So the countries that are open to Americans are for sure traveling to. Destinations that are the most popular destination for us in the summer is Europe, particularly Italy, France, and Spain. Now, while Europe and those countries specifically aren't open to Americans, they are hopeful that hopefully by July and August that they will open up and travelers will be able to travel. Hopefully before then, but it really depends. But we're here to help you navigate and ensure that whatever is booked, we keep track of the cancellation policies so that you're not losing money. In the case that the countries don't reopen as planned. But that's what we're here for, help you navigate travel and help come up with contingency plans if for some reason those countries aren't opened up. But in relation to your comment about it being a pain to keep up with all the COVID requirements, testing pre and post, I actually see that as something really positive, because a place like St. Bart's, for example, which is now unfortunately shut down because the French government shut it down, even though their numbers were really low. When I traveled there, we needed to do a PCR test 3 days prior. And then also when on the island on our 8th day, I believe. That actually made me feel so much safer, knowing that everyone who was traveling to the island and people I was interacting with all were tested negative and improved it. So it's a pain, but I see it as a positive safety measure that reassures me that I'm safe, and that others can be reassured that it's safe to communicate and interact with me.
Yeah, you're in the bubble once you're there.
Exactly, and honestly, it really was.
Yeah. So what's interesting is we, from our perspective, when we talk to families about leisure, this big idea of not working, every second of every day, the travel part of it always seems to be on the bucket list. It's part of the big picture stuff is part of the long-term plan. And it's sort of like, yeah, we've talked about this as a family. These are the things we will do eventually. And I think, something like a global pandemic that stops the process of being able to travel, really reprioritizes things, right? And I think in people's heads, it's like on top of the pent up demand for what would typically be the summer trip or whatever your annual thing is. In my mind too, in addition to that, it's those bucket list things that, people are realizing, let's not wait for this, right? Any sort of thing can happen in life, like a global pandemic that can stop us from doing this. Let's go make it happen. So I think it's the demand is going to be unbelievable over the next year.
And I think to almost add to your point, we've seen where a typical client might take a trip every 3 weeks and it might be a 2 or 3 day thing. We're seeing they're waiting and doing something big every 6 months, and they're going to take the villa for 3 to 4 weeks and build a home office in there. So we're doing much more complex, meaningful trips when they are traveling.
So Zach,
This is really true.
to that, to what you're talking about, we always talk to our families about life beyond the numbers, right? And these other things that are these experiences and these relationships that are so important. And I was excited to do this webinar because what we've been talking about, families have kind of shut it down, or a lot of our families have. And so I talk about the percolating opening. It's exciting to me. Leslie and I have had a trip that we've canceled 4 times now, and we keep pushing it out thinking, well, now it's going to be open. Now it's going to be open. But anyway.
So
To your point.
Go ahead. Sorry, Kelly.
To your point, and to Lauren's point, it's true. We have been booking long-term stays, and I think that's where a lot of the shift has happened from short-term to long-term. I mean, we have guests renting, booking, hotels and villas on hotel properties for a month, 2 months at a time. And personally, for me, I just came back from Miami this weekend, and we were supposed to stay there for a week, and we ended up extending it for 2 because, as a family, you get so wrapped up in being in your home or your apartment, and this is what it is. But then, you take that family and you move it to 80-degree weather under the sun at the beach, and you see your kids tan, not translucent from all the quarantining and isolating. And you see them, enjoying so much. It's just so much joy as a family to experience. It's so different from, obviously being contained in your home or your apartment. And so we thought, how could we just pull them from this? Let's keep this going. They're doing, the schools are now fully equipped with kids learning remotely or within school. So they did their days remotely. I worked remotely, so did my husband, and it was amazing. And, we were able to have lunch on the beach and then dinner, outside, and it was incredible. So once we got a taste of that, now we're like, okay, where are we going to next as a family?
Cool.
Thanks, Kelly. One of the questions that we received is related to vaccine passports and anything that you're hearing regarding that and documentation. And obviously, this could be specific to and differ depending upon the destination or the origin. But can you shed some light on what you're hearing about the potential of needing a vaccine passport?
Sure. There's so much buzz right now about the World Health Organization planning to create a vaccine passport, but at the moment there's no standardized system. There are countries like the Seychelles, for example, that are allowing travelers in who are fully vaccinated and can show proof. So for those who are planning on getting vaccinated or have already been vaccinated, keep that card, because that'll be your proof for now before they create a global standardized system for this.
Okay, thanks for that. And then just going back to, you had touched upon briefly about hotels versus villas. Can you talk about a little bit of the difference? I know hotels are taking extreme measures for safety. So what are you seeing in terms of, or what would you recommend? What are you seeing with your clients in terms of the safer way to travel? Are secluded villas a better way to go, or do you think it's about the same in terms of the hotels and the safety precautions and all the cleaning supplies? And how do you manage that as the traveler?
Sure. I think, listen, there are pros and cons to privately owned homes. There always have been. Obviously, we have Quintessentially Travel has our trusted, vetted suppliers who provide privately owned villa options that they've vetted out themselves in each destination around the world. So while we have that, when it comes to every specific home, it's really up to the owner to be as stringent or non-stringent with the cleaning or whatever it is within the home. And that is one of the biggest challenges when renting a privately owned home versus a home on a resort property. And so right now, more than ever, I think that our clients at least, feel a bit safer knowing that the villa that they're walking into on a hotel property has undergone all the safety protocol in terms of housekeeping. And whether or not some clients choose not to obtain housekeeping daily to avoid that interaction. So they can choose it every couple of days, every week. So it's up to them. Hotels are being really, really flexible with their guests right now, and whatever the hotels can do to accommodate the confidence and safety of their guests is now apparent more than ever. That's not to deter clients from booking home rentals. I mean, we have such great partnerships with clients. We just booked a home in Telluride for one of our clients, and he needed a slope side, and he had a bad experience with booking a home that was advertised as ski in, ski out, and it wasn't. And so we had our on-ground team actually go to the home and video how many steps exactly it takes to go to the slope, and videotape all the rooms and do a live FaceTime. So that's how far we go for our clients, to ensure that they know exactly what to expect when they arrive at a privately owned home, because photos are beautiful that you see online, but you don't really know what you're going to get until you get there. Whereas a hotel, Four Seasons Resorts is a great example. They have resorts in all throughout the world, and they're really well known for their beautiful villas. And they're partnered with Johns Hopkins University to ensure that they're working with the top experts to ensure that they have the cleanest facilities, whether it's in the villa or whether it's in the kitchen or wherever it may be, or in the kids club. So that's something that a hotel group like the Four Seasons can guarantee, that when you're there, everything's going to be impeccably clean.
Awesome, thank you. Another question that we had is in regards to just the value of booking through somebody like Quintessentially versus a typical travel agency, or booking on your own through third-party providers. If you can shed a little light on that, some of the perks that people get with you, and I believe there's offices around the globe. So if you can shed a little light on that.
Sure. From a travel perspective, our industry, the luxury travel industry, is all about relationships. And over the past 13 years, my team and I globally have built relationships with the top hoteliers around the world. Those are owners, general managers of the top hotels and resorts that our clients are booking. And I think that's the most important, is that we have not only the experience under our belt, but the personal relationships that are so valuable when it comes down to, I booked a client at a hotel and there's something that went wrong. I'm not calling our client's not at the front desk speaking with, the young person who just started their job to figure out how to manage the issue. And our client is not waiting at the front desk, waiting for a manager to come and speak to them. Our client's calling us saying, this is what's wrong. I'm going to go hang out by the beach, drink a Mai Tai, figure it out. And we figure it out. And I can't guarantee, we do everything we can to plan every aspect of the trip so that nothing can go wrong. But once the trip is set and the clients arrive, at that point, if something goes wrong at a hotel or privately owned villa or whatever it is, I can't personally be there to control it. So we control everything we possibly can. And for things that are out of control, our value is not, I can't promise you, there's nothing, your trip is going to be seamless and there's nothing that is going to go wrong at the hotel. The problem with that is there are humans at the hotel working. And guess what? Humans make mistakes. So what we do with that is we help fix that mistake as quickly, efficiently, effectively as possible to ensure that nobody's working with mid-level management. I'm calling or texting the general manager or the owner of the hotel to say, my client's here, this is what happened, please fix it. And it gets fixed. And, the client doesn't even need to know half of what the conversations I've had with the hoteliers. And as long as they're enjoying their holidays, that's all that matters. So I think that's where our value is. And, in the past 13 years where I've developed relationships with, owners and managers of hotels, my main goal is to become really good friends with all of them, because guess what? It's easy to say no. I can't do that to a business associate, but to a friend, it's really hard to say no, right? So as long as I'm becoming friends with all of these people, then whatever I need on behalf of our clients, I'm able to get usually.
And also to add to that, Kelly, kind of what you said before, Michael, where you've rebooked 4 times this year. I think in the last year specifically, where we've been hugely valuable is for that exact situation. We have rebooked, navigated cancellation policies, made sure that the best available credits are there, and kind of taken the headache and onus off of the people that we work with, specifically in the last year.
Yeah. Good
I forgot to touch upon the perks. We are the additional sort of standard perks that we offer our clients are, with through our preferred partnerships through Virtuoso, Four Seasons preferred partner, Mandarin Oriental Fan Club, and all the top luxury resort, luxury hotel group preferred partner programs are things like breakfast, full breakfast each day, early check-in, late checkout. A lot of our clients fly privately and they basically choose whenever they decide to land and leave. So we do our best to negotiate that for them. And early check-in and late checkout is invaluable. And as well as food and beverage credits, spa credits, and other perks. And we have access to complimentary nights if you stay a certain number of nights. So we are really proactive with that information with our clients. And what we do is when our client comes to us and they're visiting a destination for the first time and they don't know where to stay, it's not transactional. In addition to the personal relationships that we've created with the hotel partners that we have, we also equally put importance on creating those personal relationships with their clients. I mean, I've had clients who have been with me for, again, over a decade, we understand all their needs, just all the nuances of how they travel, what they need, and we don't need to ask them questions every time. We just get to know them. We have conversations with them, and we really see ourselves as travel consultants. We're consultants. Our clients trust us to advise them which of the 20 top 5-star hotels in Paris is right for them, because they're all 5-star. They all offer exceptional service. What is different about them? Well, I've personally stayed at all of them, so I can tell you from my experience and based on what I know about you, why you should choose between these 2 or 3 properties. So again, the personal relationships with the hotel partners, personal relationships with the clients, where we really get to know them and their families, and our experience traveling the globe and experiencing these hotels firsthand so we can speak to them.
So, Jake, if I could jump in. So one of the things I wanted to make sure to cover today was some ideas for folks listening on destinations. I think I said in my intro, some ideas on places that right now are fairly easy. Some of them, one of the islands Leslie was looking at is still like a 2-week quarantine or something. So in essence, you'd have to stay in your villa for 2 weeks. So that's not a great spot. So anyway, some destinations that are appropriate for the next 3 or 4 months. Sure.
Some destinations that aren't so stringent and that don't require such stringent quarantine. Some examples are the Bahamas, Antigua, Turks and Caicos. Costa Rica is huge, especially with our clients. I mean, just being fully immersed in nature and the jungle and the beach, and there's so many activities to do there. Mexico has consistently always been big, and they don't require any testing prior to arrival. St. Bart's was really big for us for a long time, but they were required to close their borders, and they are due to reopen in a couple of weeks, which is exciting, from what I've heard from insider intel on the island. I would say for long haul, and Hawaii has been huge as well, but each island has its own specific policies in terms of quarantine and testing. And then for long haul destinations, I briefly mentioned earlier the Maldives, which is a bucket list. Actually, all of these are bucket list destinations for most people. The Maldives, Rwanda for gorilla trekking, Tanzania and South Africa, and Kenya for safaris. So yeah, and these countries change constantly, and we are always on the pulse and in the know of what countries are available to open to travel to for US citizens.
Okay.
Thanks, Kelly. And just to segment that question a little bit more, so if you can kind of give us maybe a little bit of a breakdown of some destinations that are great for couples versus some that are great for families or large families traveling together, if you want to segment that list at all, or if those destinations all still apply.
All of those destinations cater to families as well as couples. You know, most of these resorts in particular, they have the family pool, and then they have the adults only pool. They have, you know, they have already naturally kind of created, you know, they don't want to leave anybody out. So their main focus is to ensure that they're enjoyable for all types of travelers, and they do it really well, really seamlessly. But obviously for somebody in the US, you know, with young children, going to the Caribbean to get some fun in the sun is a little shorter than flying all the way to the Maldives. So I'd probably say Maldives is a big honeymoon destination, but we've got some families who go there, rent a villa for a few weeks. There's a property there called Suniva Johnny that has these overwater bungalows with slides that go directly into the water. It's super fun for kids and adults as well. I would say maybe St. Bart's is a lot more adult focused because of how small the properties are, and how there isn't a lot to do for young kids in terms of activities. There's the beach and they have pools, but not like Costa Rica. Costa Rica right now, I would say, is the top family destination that we're booking, in addition to Mexico and Turks and Caicos. So, you know, again, there's a destination, and then there are the specific hotels and resorts within that destination. And that's what we're here for, again, to help families, couples, single travelers, multi-generation travelers, which we have a lot of right now. I think families have been separated for so long. Now that the grandparents are starting to get vaccinated or have been vaccinated, the families feel safer seeing them and interacting with them more. So we've done a lot of multi-generation family trips for clients where they rent a whole villa and kind of, you know, do a lot of family bonding, which is super special. And we can also create really unique experiences for them. And I think the travel that we've planned during the pandemic has been some of the most meaningful travel that we've ever planned, because clients aren't just sending the kids off to the kids club and kind of doing their own thing. It's really, what can we all do together and experience together? Because, you know, we don't know when we'll be able to do this again. And we haven't been, although we've been cooped up in our homes and apartments together, we haven't really enjoyed each other. So let's go and, you know, we've booked really unique experiences for both the kids, adults, and yeah, they've come back with just the best things to say about the memories that they created together.
Kelly, do you know the resort I'm thinking of? So I would hitch a blind with this one. Bay of Papagayo in Costa Rica. there's a great resort there. I'll come back to
I
it
think it's
if
I think it's a Four
Is it
Seasons.
the Four Seasons?
Yeah, it probably is, but it's a spectacular spot.
It's the peninsula of Papagayo. It's the Four Seasons. It is spectacular. And that is actually a perfect example of a hotel that offers villas, also, kind of tucked away, and you can be as private or not private as you want. And that's just, it's a property that offers something for everyone. And the great thing about Costa Rica, and this is something we haven't touched upon, is, what happens if I contract COVID while I'm traveling, because that is a possibility.
Sure.
Places like Costa Rica, specifically the Four Seasons, make it really simple, not simple, but they make it really, they're very accommodating. So if they say, if you book a stay with us at the Four Seasons Costa Rica and you contract COVID while you're here, we will offer you a special rate that is a fraction of our rates, which are oftentimes over $1,000 a night. And ensure that your expenses don't exceed what you were expecting to pay while you're on property. So they offer lower rates because you'll have to quarantine, obviously, and they'll make it really comfortable for you. And when you travel to Costa Rica, first of all, travel insurance is number one. Anybody traveling, get travel insurance. Don't skimp on that. You want it, take it, do it, pay for it. Places like Costa Rica require all incoming travelers to obtain their Costa Rican local travel insurance, which is a nominal fee. I want to say some less than $100. And what that guarantees is they cover, if you do contract COVID, they will cover that amount that Four Seasons Costa Rica is offering at that special daily rate. Which makes me think I almost want to go to Costa Rica and contract COVID so I can stay at the Four Seasons for 2 weeks.
That's what I was sitting here thinking. What could be so bad, right?
Exactly.
Master plan.
Yeah.
Just another quick location-specific question with some of those spots you mentioned. And Kelly, you said earlier, I think a lot of families are thinking this way, doing more extended stay trips. And I'm sure some of these locations and even specific resorts have been more accommodative or changed their booking policies and have discounts for multi-week or month-long stays at some of these properties. Are there any locations where that's more true, or even specific resorts where that's the case?
I can't give you specific examples of resorts off the top of my head. Also, those policies change obviously based on demand and the season, but there are many hotels that I know of within the United States and internationally that are offering well, number one, we are here to help you negotiate to get the lowest rate possible, especially if you stay long term. That's a given. But in addition, there are hotels that are offering either complimentary adjoining rooms or adjoining rooms at half the rate for the kids or the adults to be able to use that room solely to work out of. A lot of these hotels, because they're not all the weddings and events have been canceled, right? So they have a ton of massive event space. They've actually turned, like the Four Seasons Punta Mita, for example, has turned their event space into remote learning pods, and where kids can go and safely learn remotely from their laptops. So yes, they've become really, hotels have become very creative with their offerings. And again, they just want you to travel. So they really are accommodating. I mean, within reason, right? You don't want to take advantage, but we're here to help you navigate that, and here to help you get the best, the most value for your money. We don't offer, I can't say we offer rates as low as booking.com, but why would you want to book through a third-party hotel supplier? Because if that happens, you're getting maybe 15% off the rate, 10% off the rate, but you're taken to the very bottom of that important guest totem pole. If there's any upgrade available, you're not going to get it. If there's any amenity available, you're not going to get it. So while you're paying the best available rate as what the hotel is offering, or a promotional rate that the hotel is offering to us, you're still going to be VIP'd. Hotels have morning meetings every morning with the entire staff. Our Quintessentially members are noted as a priority for every hotel. And if there's anything available to upgrade to, all guests, all the staff will be aware of who our clients are. And I think that's why our clients like to be our clients, because with that Quintessentially stamp, they know that the hotels know who they are and that they should be treated like VIPs, as everyone is, and everyone should be.
Thanks, Kelly.
Sure.
I wanted to go back to the trip insurance and just to talk about multi-generational families that are traveling together and how the insurance works. So if the patriarch in a multi-generational family that's traveling together is to get ill, how does the coverage work for the entire party? And can you shed some light on that?
Sure. So I am not an insurance expert, but
Yep.
we have close partnerships and relationships with travel insurance companies who can explain, and they can explain all of that to you and our clients. What I do know is that there are many different options at many different price points, and it really depends on the insurance package that you get. So I hesitate to give you sort of like a blanket statement to, I don't want to misinform you. But if you have specific questions about a trip, or you have specific questions, I'm happy to answer that separately.
Jake, if maybe we have one more question.
Yeah, I mean, the last question really is, and we've touched upon it a little bit, but what are you most excited about when borders open up? And just to add on to that, if there are any destinations that you haven't received inquiries on that people should be thinking about, let us know.
Wow, I have so much to say to that. It'll take me half an hour. I'm excited. My team and I are excited to book travel for our clients and hear about the memories that they create with their families and loved ones. Everybody is itching to travel, and they're going to make the most of it. So I think what I'm most excited about are the really unique experiences that we'll be able to create for our clients. And more than ever, just creating lasting memories. As cheesy as that sounds, it really, our team genuinely cares for our clients, and we love making their trips extremely memorable, and now more than ever. Obviously, we took a bit of a hit. Less clients are traveling, so I think we're really ready to get ramped up and just book travel back to back again. And destinations, I mean, we have done it all. We can book a basic weekend to Miami to 10 to 12 month around the world trip for a family on a private jet. And we've done everything in between. So whether it's a private wine tour through France and Italy to, hopping around Southeast Asia for 3 to 4 weeks, we've really done it all. And what I love about our clients is just everyone comes from such different backgrounds. So, we have clients who have very strict religious food restrictions, clients whose kids have major allergies, and we've been able to work around all of this in destinations that you wouldn't even think could accommodate dietary restrictions. But me personally, I can't wait to go back to France and just have a really good croissant.
So Kelly, I'm gonna put both of you on the spot here. So my favorite vacation spot is St. Bart's, and haven't been in a while for a variety of reasons, COVID being one of them. But with all the travel the two of you have done, pick one place. What's your favorite? You had to pick one spot. Where would you go, each of you?
That's such a hard question to answer, but I would say of this past year, where I've traveled to, where I look forward to traveling to year after year is what you just said, where you just said St. Bart's. It's a perfect oasis in the middle of the Caribbean where, you know, we have parents who send their 12-year-old daughters into Gustavia town to go shopping alone with their friends. I mean, there's no crime on this island. In fact, the island has an entire Facebook group where all the inhabitants are part of. So if I live there and I leave my keys on a table, somebody will take a photo of it, post it to the Facebook group, and somebody will see it and know that they're my keys because I misplaced them. And I mean, you could leave an Hermes Birkin bag full of $10,000 cash and nobody will take it. It is, the police there are really bored. There's no crime. And the most dangerous thing is very dangerous, although it's very dangerous, is drunk driving. But it's just the safe, beautiful oasis. And it's not, and to my surprise, because this year is my first time, it's not as sort of hoity-toity as people have made it out to be. You know, people are the locals are really relaxed and really laid back. And if you don't want to be seen, like, you don't have to do that. You can go to St. Bart's and, you know, experience barefoot luxury and just chill and not have to worry about what you're wearing to dinner, because most people are barefoot or in flip-flops. So that was a really pleasant surprise for me.
And you can get a good cheeseburger for sure. Lauren,
Exactly.
Sure, and thank you for giving me time to think about my answer, Kelly. I would say kind of pre-COVID, one of my favorite things about travel was exploring something new. And whether that was Sri Lanka, El Salvador, Tokyo, always going to somewhere different. So I would say I don't want to go back anywhere, but kind of after the last year, I really miss the networks that I have in Europe. And I've never felt so far away from some of those colleagues and friend groups. So I'm really looking forward to hopefully this summer getting back to Europe and spending some time in places like London, Paris, and Stockholm.
Okay.
Well, that concludes our questions for today. So Mike, will you close us out here?
Yeah, sounds good. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. And a special thanks to Lauren and Kelly for a fantastic discussion and providing us with a roadmap and inspiration to not only begin traveling again, but to do so safely, of course. The webinar was recorded, so we'll be sharing the recording with attendees in a follow-up email to come. And in addition to providing contact information for the folks at Quintessentially, at any time, please feel free to reach out to us with questions. And I hope you have a wonderful year ahead and we regain some normalcy here. So stay safe. Thanks for joining. Thanks for listening. And Lauren and Kelly, thanks a million.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.